I believe if you own index funds, now is the time to sell them. Why? Because this is what you own. You don't know what you own. And one of the most important elements of investing in the stock market is to know what you own. We are in the midst of the greatest speculative bubble in the history of the stock market. If you're invested in the S&P 500, your annualized return over the past 5 years has been 15.7%. But if you take out the big four, the Amazon, the Google, the Apple, and the Microsoft, your annualized return is 7%, 60% less. In other words, 4 or 5 stocks are pulling the rest along. Those stocks, Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, are going to have poor earnings in the fourth and first quarters. And you're going to see your index fund collapse because the other 495 stocks are on thin ice. Let's get into exactly what's going to happen.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Between now and October the 31st, I'll be giving away $1,000 for you to buy stock. Moomoo is adding to my contribution with 15 stocks worth up to $2,000 each. Find the links in the description. As I said, we're in the largest speculative bubble in the history of the stock market. Never before was $9 trillion thrown into the stock market between 2020 and 2021. As a result of that, the S&P 500 was up 115% from March 25th, 2020 to February the 1st, 2022. And that was followed by the worst 9 months in 50 years in the stock market. What this all brings to my mind is the subprime crisis. When the market got overvalued, when real estate got overvalued, and the collateralized debt obligations, which I showed you in a video last week, basically collapsed. You had a group of bonds that were misrated, that were put in an investment instrument, and as a result of them not being what they were proposed to be, they collapsed, and the whole instrument collapsed. This is pretty much the same thing that an index fund is, whether it's the QQQs or it's the S&P 500 or any other index fund. You don't really know what you own. Oh, you know you own Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, some very well-performing stocks that push that index up and then bring the other 496 stocks along with it, such as the S&P 500 over the past 5 years has given you an annualized return of 15.7%. But if you take out of it the Apple, the Google, the Amazon, the Microsoft, and then the NVIDIA, it gave you a 7% return, 60% less than what the overall average was. Let's go forward and we get our earnings reports from Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, and we know they're going to be down. So if they're down, what's that going to do to the other stocks in the S&P 500 or the QQQs that aren't as strong? Well, their earnings are going to be even worse. Some of them are going to be put in jeopardy because of high interest rates, because of inflation. And as a result, they'll go out of business. So what will happen to our tower, our index fund, as they go out of business and as our support, our anchors, report bad earnings? Well, as some go out of business, they will fall out of the S&P 500 or whatever other index fund maybe it's the Russell 2000. And as they come out, it jeopardizes the structure of the whole fund. So we put ourselves in a position that our S&P 500 fund could actually collapse on us. We hope it doesn't, but as some stocks fail and others show weakness, the whole tower becomes in jeopardy. and eventually it falls. What does a falling S&P 500 look like? Well, the S&P 500 right now is 3,614. If we look back to the subprime crisis, we saw a substantial drop, which would give us indication that the S&P 500 could go as low as 1,862. That's almost a 50% additional drop. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. But I believe there's at least another 25%. And what's going to happen is as you see your index fund coming down, it's like being in a totally maxed out theater and everybody says, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And they get up, someone screams fire, and everybody goes to the door. But the doors are only so big. And so people start getting trampled and in the stampede and the whole thing collapses. So what am I telling you? History tells us that we are in the biggest speculative bubble that the market has ever seen. And we've got to get it taken care of. We've got to get rid of those stocks that shouldn't be there or that are falsely inflated. Will the values of Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA come down? Yes. That's why I liquidated them about 2 weeks ago. This is, and what you need to recognize is this is not only going to affect stocks, it's going to affect bonds, it's going to affect crypto, and NFTs, come on, and real estate. It's going to bring it all down, not because of just the index funds, but because it is totally speculative. I ask you to look back, look in the rearview mirror and ask yourself, where are all the SPACs? Where are all the IPOs? Where is all that cryptocurrency surge that went up? It's gone. You are at the threshold of the busting bubble. So it has always been said that cash is trash. But go back and look at what Ray Dalio said just last week. Cash is no longer trash. Cash is where you need to be to protect yourself from what is about to happen. Someone's going to scream fire. It may even be Vladimir Putin. It may be Xi Jinping, or it may be Google, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft's earnings. Someone's going to scream fire, and you're going to head for the door. I hope you're sitting in the back of the theater, because if you're up there in one of those front row seats and just playing this game as hard as you can, you're not going to get out, okay? Or if you're in the middle, you're going to be stampeded like happens at concerts. When everybody wants to get to the front, everybody's going to want to get out of this. So be aware and know what you own. Because if you own something that is in jeopardy, it's going to collapse. And all the signals are there. Just listen. I would invite you to come join our group, our community. We meet in a Discord. We have a Friday stock talk where we discuss, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? And so it's not all built on you. You have a community that wants you to succeed and helps you get there. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm a CFP, a CHSC, and a CLU. I sold my business back in 2005, and my objective is to share my knowledge. If you've been here, you know what that shirt's all about and why I'm here. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.